I want to encourage you to have faith in something. And I know that even atheists have faith in stuff. They have faith in the good of humanity and, protecting life and things like that. So but we really need to, whatever strengthens us. To me, it's Jesus Christ, it's God, it's Yeshua, it's the Bible, but it's mostly how God speaks to my heart, through the Holy Spirit. And that's how I get to that loving force in the universe, to believe in incredible things. And we have to believe in incredible things with this one. I mean, because we're up against it, guys. We're up against a wall. We're getting organized. We're doing things, to grassroots level. We're getting on these calls, but everybody's being attacked and tortured and viciously mauled by these people. And they're highly organized with, tons of money. And people are making so much money off it that they don't want it to end. And they've got the cover of national security with like these underground rules from the Patriot Act to do whatever they want to citizens. They've got a bunch of like hidden rules that they can kind of, like if somebody like an official's like, hey, this is killing people, and they say, no, it's for national security, shut your mouth, or we'll kill your family. So we're up against the wall here. We're up against a very big evil thing. That kind of brings me back to my my last point, is that I think the public does understand. A lot of the public does understand that these technologies exist. Wireless signals being shot at people, being connected with people. You got the sonic weapons in Cuba. You've got a lot of it coming out in the mainstream media. People have had time to kind of acclimate to all these people telling the same story, with little different details of the protocols that, were being experimented and researched on, but mainly the same story of being hit with wireless energy, directed energy. The problem is that it's this huge corrupt industry. It's an industry, and it's connected to defense contracts. It's connected to United States agencies giving money to third-party contractors to carry out torture and experimentation on American citizens. This is happening. This is what I tell everybody who doesn't believe me. I'm just like, listen, bottom line, this is happening. It is not people's imagination. People are not crazy. This is happening. So that's our problem, is that there's so much money in it, that even if everybody knows, this industry is going to try and hold out and just say, oh, well, they can't do anything about it. The mainstream media hasn't really come out and talked about TIs in America or other countries. I think the Cuba story, if our DOD, if our military industrial complex, and really the people who control our mainstream media, if they had their choice, they would have been able to cover up that story and say that maybe the State Department workers were having some kind of psychological, some kind of psychiatric problems. But it somehow got through, and that should be very hopeful for TIs, is that it got through. This one got through. The mainstream media did go ahead and report it. So it's like sometimes they're just forced. They're forced to report these things. Now, I guess the last thing I'll talk about, this latest shooting in Las Vegas. We've been talking about that on some of the calls. I really do, from what I've heard and what I've looked at, it does look like a total false flag. I'm not sure if the man was a targeted individual. I'm not sure what was going on around it, but it seems like it was a planned event. I just look at, the hurricanes that happened recently, then the Cuban embassy attack, a lot of news coming out that is, people looking into what was being done during the hurricanes, how the government was handling it, people looking at the Cuban embassy attack, sonic weapons, and who could have been doing it. A lot of news stories that if people had time to focus in on them, a lot would be learned. A lot would be learned, and a lot could be changed. And then you get a shooting in Las Vegas, and then everybody's attention is redirected to that. And anybody who was killed during it, I pray for their family, and let's all pray for their families. I'm not sure about the whole scheme of things, but it does seem to me like a false flag attack. It seems like something that was planned, like this guy, could have been somehow, altered or coerced or mind directed into doing something crazy, and then surveillance role players put down. In Las Vegas, there were no CCTV cameras covering anything of what was happening. A lot. There's just a lot to go into on that, and I haven't really researched it a lot. I've mainly just been talking to people about it. But that if you notice, whenever people have the time to think about stuff, like some things have happened, like the Cuban embassy attack, the hurricanes, we all have time to kind of think about what's happening around us, what's happening in our society, how is it working, how is our government responding to things, how are these agencies responding to things. Whenever people have time to think, then you get something new. Then you get some new event that kind of pops up, and it's kind of weird, and people are then looking at that, and it's called keeping people cognitively dissonant, so they can't focus on anything. Brian too calls it censorship. He calls it censorship when you're trying to, I think that's what he calls it, but it's like it's kind of a microcosm would be me as a target individual. Like, I'm trying to think of some kind of activism, and so my neighbor starts banging on the wall so that my attention is diverted, or I'm like reading a really good book about targeting and learning a lot, researching a lot about how to defend, or getting some new ideas, and then they turn up the tinnitus sound, just amp it up so that I can't even think. I have to put the book down, to misdirect my attention. So on a macrocosm scale, the American people, the global community, looking into things and trying to absorb what is happening, and then boom, another big incident, a big thing in Las Vegas. Mandalay Bay was where it was. But anyway, it's all very bizarre. Seems like a lot of things in our society are very, very controlled, agenda-driven, and grotesque, bizarrely grotesque. Where I have to tell you guys, and the video is kind of coming close to an end, but we are living in tyranny. I mean, we are not free. We are not free. I have to tell any citizen that, you have the illusion of freedom. You go to work, you come home, you can go anywhere you want to go. That's fine. That's the illusion of freedom. We live in tyranny because at the drop of a hat, if somebody doesn't like you, who's connected to one of these agencies, or you maybe have a medical condition where you are implanted through some kind of governmental program, you buy a lottery, you are thrown into a program where you are tortured and experimented on for an unforeseeable future. That is called tyranny. That is not. We're not living in freedom. When this can be done to hundreds of thousands, millions of people, but some people still have the illusion of freedom, you could be next at any time. And I'm not trying to threaten people who, are not experiencing this. I'm just saying, at any time, you or your children could be next to be hit by these weapons, these directed energy weapon systems. It is a lottery. It is a lottery. And Martin Luther King said, when injustice is done to one, and there can be no justice for anyone. When there's no justice for one, there's no justice for anyone. And it's probably said a different way, but that y'all get what I'm saying. And it's very, very true. It's very true. I don't feel like, I definitely am not free. I'm tortured, they lie to my neighbors, people patrolling me and cutting into my freedom while I'm being murdered. I mean, I am being murdered. Like, nerves, my nerves in my body and my brain are being, so manipulated with directed energy, with electromagnetic frequencies, sonic weapon capabilities too, that I'm sick. I'm sick. I can't go hold a job. I tried to hold a job for 5 years. I'm not free to just go out and do whatever I want to do. I'm surviving. Like, I can move around, I can drive around in my car, and people who see me are like, well, that guy is free, because they don't see the electromagnetic prison that I live in and that these other TIs live in. So it's more dangerous than just tyranny, where people are getting locked up and you can see that people are getting locked up. It's the illusion that everybody's free, and these target individuals are being caged in electromagnetic frequencies, enslaved, tortured, experimented on, raped, and then people see them out and they're like, oh, well, those people are free. The majority of people, they don't see anything because they can't see, the wireless energy, the directed energy that is going into that target individual's head or back and giving them so much pain, or actually, shoving a mental image into their head. We are not living in freedom, guys. We're not living in freedom. We're not free. If you do feel free, then you have the illusion of freedom, which is not the same thing as really being free. It's not the same thing. Alright, guys, I'm about 55 minutes. Just let's keep going. Let's keep going. I know I just kind of went everywhere on this video. I needed to get some things out, and I just need to talk, because if I'm isolated in the condo. I do talk on the phone calls, on the conference calls, but when when I'm just kind of sitting there, my brain, like what they're doing to my brain, makes me feel just like I'm in another world of pain and dysfunction, just dysfunction, like I can't function. So when I do a video, it helps me to just kind of click that back in, that okay, I'm still talking okay, everything's good. I can still kind of think. They do shut down a lot of my short-term memory. They're messing a lot with that. I love you guys. I hope I got some important points or maybe inspired somebody. Please, TIs, every TI that's speaking out, making videos, doing journals, whatever you're doing, handing out flyers, you're badass. You're awesome. You are great, and the whole TI community thanks you. And we're moving forward because of people like you. If you're a TI who doesn't really know what to do, try and contact somebody like, go to that website, stopgangstalkingcrimes.com, and I think Terry's setting something up, so if somebody, doesn't really know how to help, they can talk to the leaders in the community, and we can maybe, help them out with knowing where we need help. But and I'm not, I know this is about survival. Some TIs have to go to jobs, and they're worried about maybe losing those jobs. So I'm not judging anybody. Every TI, just for being alive and kicking and moving, and surviving, you deserve a lot of credit. A lot of credit. My face is very shiny. But just, guys, just the time is now to speak out. People know about this stuff. We're not getting a lot of naysayers. We're getting people kind of paid to put propaganda on people's channels and stuff like that. But a lot of real people are realizing that this is happening. So the more that everybody comes forward in a unified fashion, the quicker this program can end. Alright, guys, God bless you. I love you guys. I've really got to use the bathroom, so I've got to stop the video. But I will see y'all on the next one. I love y'all. God is behind us. We are moving forward, and we're going to think of some things to move forward even faster, guys. All right, I will see y'all on the next one. Love y'all. God bless you and protect your families.